And the tune you mentioned before, you were all, it came up, what would you be? Who am I going to be? What am I going to create myself to be? And so this tune I'm just going to pop up on here is by Zach and What Army. It's produced by a mate of ours, Vostok. I really do like this. And with that in mind, when I actually grow up, I'm going to be a magical turtle.
Swim the 7 seas.
It's a matter of importance to me that you be lucid and aware of what you're able to be. Since I was able to see the lack of limits, I've been infinite, and this is indiscriminate. Isn't narcissistic. Arson isn't always meant to be destructive, it's an art form. This is my attempt to start the fire that makes you art more, and logic less, cause logic since the dollar has been off of it. I'm offering a sentence that could bring you back to sanity. Empathic but emphatically, I plan to see you mastering the art of your existence so that everyone can benefit. Then on and fractally it blossoms into everything, and mindfully we intervene, i.e. create reality. I used to hate this word, but now I know its definition, and I've learned to trust my family. I see all 7 billion, so I deem it time to DMT you all with my opinion, and I pray to my creators that just one of you will listen, cause the light and divine truth was always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You've traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through, and I'm here to remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through, and I'm here to remind you that you are. I am the Illuminati of my own reality. I am not afraid of those who benefit from apathy. I am not a slave to any entity or anything. My mission as a cell is reconnecting us with everything. Inevitably, everything is bound to evolve, cause that's the nature of the fractal that we're also involved with, revolving around a nucleus that nuclearly powers us. But I've comprised a theory that suggests we really power it. Power is the act of understanding what you're standing on. This is not the planet I was born from. No, the mastodon is part of me. I'm partially a particle lost, time and space, but I'll remember when they're blasting me off that I am everything. Free from the pendulum I may never be, but I control my darkness just enough to make a friend of it. Addendumless, my Bible is remembering the ultimate. Then every channeled verse is holy text because we come from it. And every son and daughter is my bleeding hearted counterpart, so I will find the others and remind them that we have a heart. You're part of God whenever you remember, and I'm sure now endeavoring forever on the quest of showing more how the light and divine truth was always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through. I need only remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through, and I'm here to remind you that you are God. I'm here to remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you, and I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. I need only remind you that you are God. I'm here to remind you that you are God. I'm only here to remind you that you are a magical turtle. Magical turtles?
That's pretty good.
Things on Darkcity Radio. Lots of things.
find your increases. Good over evil is our evidence. In this world, it's dread. Your seal is a sign. In the morning, we shall rise. Through the sun of gold, oh, for the blue, Mother Nature green. The night is the shadows of the day. Make another day is rising. We are shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. Knowledge is our refreshment. It plays of creation. Of what we do burns deep at the sheep at last to be found. We are shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. Shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. Pick up the pieces to find your increases. Good over evil is our evidence. In this world, it's dread. Your seal is a sign. In the morning, we shall rise. We shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. We shall rise, oh yeah, shall rise. We are 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 shall rise, oh yeah.
No, press that one first. Shiraz, Albert Clark. If you're out there, Albert, get in touch, will you? We've done what you said. We keep putting it out there. And thanks to everybody else who's actually donated the music to be played. S-Man, who we kind of just fell in love with. You know who you are. You all know who you are. Big thanks to you all for the music and stuff. We would like to only play that kind of stuff, non-commercial stuff. I'd like to throw it out. But hey, we're living in a real world, so we have got a playlist that's out there. If there's something you want to hear on it, let us know. Drop us an email at bobsbackyard.co.uk. Robo IP will work it out. Bob, Robo, Susan, God, Charley Veitch, Prajna, and at Bob's Backyard. Right.
I could be reached via prayer at any time, anywhere.
But you probably won't get a response. If you do want to get a direct email account to God, if you do want to get a direct email,
you may not notice, but I do.
Oh, right, it's the way you work in mysterious ways. Yeah. I think God there is just taking the credit for the deeds of others yet again. But hey, never mind. Let's. So anyway, Dark City show. We've run over. We did say this show might run late, and it's a good thing. The reason why I actually said that is because last week there was kind of nobody about until like 9 o'clock, and this week it's been buzzed up all the way through. So hey, thanks to you all out there for making Dark City what it is. Right then, we've got new people. We've got new people who are kind of. I hope they do know that what. what Dark City is all about. It's
that is
your radio. So you won't know this, Malek. I'll use this, if you might do, but humour me. We constructed this for you. That's why we did it. We didn't know, if it would work or not, if it would work, and we put it together so people could come forward and have their say. An independent media stream. I suppose that's where it's going. It's not kind of being directed by anyone, but by the support and by the people, by the hosts, by the guests, by the Dark City crew. The Dark City show is about you lot out there coming and being in this little square box, which feels like you're inside something, but you're not. Really weird experience. Many people are a bit nervous of it. If you do want to come along, and Malek was a perfect example, he sat there for a while. The guys were into a bit. So yeah, and just listen to it, and then you can chip in and say hello. Get used to it. Dark City Radio will be launched in the spring, officially, fully. We'll call on everyone, splatter it everywhere, and we'll try and make a go as an independent stream. Now look, it's pretty much out on the fringe. A few of us have already dealt with the mainstream, and for whatever reason it doesn't suit us, it doesn't work for us, it's not our thing, and that's why we find ourselves here. My angle on it is the response, the amount of response we've had with a few listeners, with a few hosts, and look at the guests that are coming through. One guy who's done loads for the station, and we were mentioning this, is Dom, commonly known as Dom. That guy troops about all over the place. He never stops promoting this. He doesn't.
Yeah. Well done, Bob. I take my hat off to you, mate. I think he was one of the first ones to introduce me to this as well.
Was he? He really does, man. I mean, he's fair enough. I mean, I've met the guy, and he really is a trooper. And man, look, we can't all do that. We can't all go out there. We can't all be doing that. And that's kind of like each and every one of us just doing what we can do. Like I said, tonight we're worldwide. Most of us here from the UK, but Susan there all the way over in Australia. We've had Americans and Canadians, Europeans, even my brother from Transylvania. It's brilliant. We are actually already a fledgling. We're just a little fledgling station. But when we actually take those numbers, the actual numbers, and you do the figures, we are Dark City Radio, your radio, the radio we constructed for you lot. Don noticed it, thanks to a guy called Phil Finker. Phil, big thanks to you, Phil, if you're out there, because he kind of introduced us.
BBC
and it was
bobbing
all done by what you could say synchronicity and coincidence. Dan wouldn't be sat here now if it wasn't for Stacey. We wouldn't be here. We literally wouldn't. I wouldn't have known Prajna if it weren't for Dom. I've got people in my local area, Nettie and Mojo, who are just up in Oldham, if you're listening.
Beastie Boys song.
Isn't it? Nettie and Mojo.
No, it's Nettie's girl, Egg on Mojo.
Mojo, he's got a graphics card that he's helping us with the Bitmine. He's contributing with his graphics card for the Bitmine. He came down the other day. These are people in my local area. I actually found them people because Don came down to the allotment action. Stacey came down with a guy called Tim, who actually picked me up and gave me a hug today. That was lovely. Wish I would have got it on video, man. It was proper. I leaped right up into his arms, and he picked.
It's kept me giggling for hours. That you should have seen it. We'll have a video in next time Tim comes around. But I was rolling around laughing with that. It was brilliant.
So yeah, that was my bit of a blurb on the Dark City shows. If you are out there, you do want to have a show, you want to have a go at this, we do our best to support people. That's why we have a crew. And now a lot of them crew are people who haven't got brilliant internet access. They can drop on and off. And the idea is we use our strengths, in this case, internet, broadband, the bandwidth of the internet that we have. So if somebody drops off, there's somebody else there, and it keeps going. We're not saying people have got weaknesses. We're talking about the internet. But if we use our strengths to support others where they're weak, then their strengths can come to the forefront. And that's what we're actually experiencing tonight. So yeah, it works. If you're out there and you want to have a go, please do so. You can ring us. It's quite an easy number to remember. 298-0298. That's if you're right here in Manchester. Of course, if you're not, add 0161. And if you're outside the UK, then you need to make it 0044 161. That's the regional code for Manchester. 298-0298. Right then. Here we go. Extended show. Where are we going? Malek, welcome to you. You're new. We've got Charley Veitch who's with us, but hey, we all know what that's like. He's asleep on his settee. But we really didn't kind of want to speak to Charley. We wanted to speak to the woman behind him. Our Stacey. You know, she has been a real major help to us. And getting the thing moving again. Literally come along and give that big idea a nudge, and it's got it rolling again. Put a big sparkle into it. We've got our robo-whip here, and of course he'll type for us. He's very good at typing, but he's not very good at radio. There you go. And we've tried to explain to him that he does need to use his audible capabilities now. He's been upgraded to USB 3. And there, our other producer on Darkcity, and I suppose most don't know this, but Bob Earthwise is now there. He's producing. He's not got a brilliant internet access. He either does kind of one or the other, and that's what it's about. When he has got good access, he can do it all. So again, thanks to all them. If you do want to come up and do that, you know, just look after the call, work on the server, and by that you just need TeamViewer. It's quite simple to do. Take you half an hour to do it. If you have got your own show and you want to put it out there and you want to get involved with this, whatever we call it here, this group, no, we can't have a group, can we? We can't have a group, that don't work. We've decided groups are out. But if you want to...
Speaking of groups, actually, hairdressing. Yeah, so...
yeah, I'm going to get there. I'll get in there very soon. If you do want to get up here, like I say, if you want to have your own say or put a show on, get in touch with us. We are trying to fill up 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock, Monday to Saturday. That's our goal. Whether we'll do it or not, I don't know. If we can do that, yeah, we should have enough people there for it to actually become self-sustaining. And then, this is my favourite bit. If you've got the Skype number, you'll be able to interact with the radio station live from wherever you are in the world. If you can get on Skype. Now, most of these phones do this. I mean, you will be able to do it through the phone as well. But that's a bit more difficult for us to set up. Via Skype, we can give you, wherever you are in the world, you can cover your news, your stories from your area, wherever you are, live, literally within moments. A video camera's good, audio's good, you can't beat a live stream. You can't. So yeah, we're getting there. These are some of the things that have been put forward, we are working on, and yeah, it is coming together. Anyway, I've heard enough of my own voice now, so who wants it? Go on.
Well, I'd like to speak to Jesus and God and say thank you. I'll do it myself. It's okay. I get it. I've read the book. Hi. So, yeah, speaking of change and how that change starts, where does it start? Where is this change that we are speaking of? And are we waiting for someone to make the change for us? So hello to you, the listener, and hello to the big round table. So
yeah, I think I'm going to
where does that change begin?
Intervene here. I agree with what Susan's saying about the change. We should probably not look for someone else to bring us the kind of golden crown or do the change for us. I think individually we're all doing it ourselves, either subconsciously or consciously. Things are becoming faster and faster with time. What Charley said a while ago with the whole 2012 coming thing, things are more things are happening more and more at the same time. So all these things are kind of coming forward. I'd say a year ago I would have never heard about, this truth movement or the movement that's going on in Manchester, or I wouldn't know anything about, common law, or, the Freeman movement, or what's going on internationally, and, the whole thing about corporations and what have you. I think slowly, we're all participating in our own way, and the more people we meet, the more connections we get. I think that's kind of rivering out the information through to everyone.
True. We discussed water, and water has memory, and people are trying to privatize water, and what is it they're actually able to privatize? If water has memory, it's the same, So it can be, I hear the word, "Oh, wake up," become a part of the truth movement, and that, waking up to what it is you're waking up to, and the process of change. So again, perception, looking outside for the change, or being in denial of the change as well. So that I think is the truth. For me, that bubbles up everywhere. That truth that I.
Do you mind if I ask you, Susan? Would you be able to explain to me and a bit of the listeners a bit more about the water memory? I mean, I've heard about this before, but I don't really know too much about the subject.
Okay. Well, your emotions, it has been documented, are able to change the crystal formation in the water. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that connection is there. So that connection is stored. It's a memory. You have it's a memory. That memory is stored. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. I think. What Emoto did, I believe, he took pictures of the water with different sounds, and he showed all the different geometries that you can get. I think one of them was fear and love and peace, and all these different sounds. And talking of geometry as well, what someone said earlier, our body's 60-70% water. I mean, that would have a big effect. Has anyone ever heard of a case where they're constantly drinking in this kind of sounded water or something like that? Has anyone seen?
Well, there's so many ramifications with water, but again, it's the privatization of water. I've experienced that here in Australia, where they tried to say that 20 years ago everybody had to take out their backyard water tank and not collect rainwater. And this constant battle against water, and so which you get into that manifest of them, they, rah, 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 but being aware that the changes, I am the change. I hear the time, the word time, and it's actually a perception of change. There's no such thing as time, because time is a measurement. It is the perception of change. So, that mindfest of word, where they get you, the birthright. So, yeah.
I've done a few experiments with crystals and the stored memory, or frequencies, resonant frequencies of various different crystals, which they've got, different frequencies. I use them in aquaponics and hydroponics to see if they change. It was just somebody who said, would it make a difference? And I didn't know, so I tried it. And lo and behold, I found out it was silica, and this is a long time ago. Now it's popular. You can buy liquid silica, but silica actually was different. And the weirdest one was the purple one, amethyst. And the amethyst lost all the colour, the deepness of the amethyst went away, and the vegetation had a purple hue to it when you looked at it, which was a bit odd. Now, that kind of got me into stored memory. As Sue's kind of saying that, water, it was ice crystals. They froze the water, and the crystals formed differently to the sounds that were being played as they were frozen. Pretty sure that's how it was done. And there's other ones being done since then, like with particles playing audible sound at them, and they form geometric patterns and all sorts. So, sound does have a major effect. Now, you get muscular memory in the physical body as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the body actually, when aspartame's a classic one here, and people often drink aspartame in drinks because it's low calorie and they think it'll lose weight. But for every particle of aspartame, I think your body needs to surround it with 5 or 6 particles of water. So you are actually not producing any more fat, but you're actually getting bigger, a lot bigger. Your body bloats up to protect itself from the toxins people are taking on. So yeah, water, as we call it in the north.
That's quite interesting, actually. I didn't realise you were playing about with a bit of aquaponics there as well, Bob. Did it have a change on the plant's growth or anything like that?
Within hydroponics, actually, it's crystals. It did. Yes, it did. It does, man.
Yeah, because there's a funny story. I heard that scientists in Russia are actually doing something. I mean, now we're talking about geometric patterns and water and what have you. Some scientists in Russia have made this kind of pyramid, and now this pyramid is following the natural law, which I believe we call pi here. It's kind of what's embedded in seashells and things like that. Essentially, all our bodies made up of the same mathematical formula.
Of course, if you actually accept that there is actually anything here that's natural, of course.
Yeah.
You would have to actually do that to apply a law to it.
Yeah.
And that what is natural would not need the law of man to govern it.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, I mean, these guys have made this structure, this pyramid. Now, they've put in all these seeds inside, and they've left the seeds for, I believe it was like a week or so. And then they've taken the seeds out, and they've compared them with, the same family, but the seeds that were actually in the pyramids that germinated, I think it was 3 times faster. And then when it started growing, it yielded 300% more. So, I mean, that itself says, if scientists are coming up with this data.
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Seeds are actually also governed by lunar activity. And a lot of farmers and people in agriculture will be aware of this on the moon phase. Many of them were planted on the moon phase. The yin-yang symbol, which is portrayed to be some religious artifact, has also been discovered to actually also show you a pictograph of the northern and southern hemisphere planting regime. When you put a little stick in it, many of the coins, when it was stamped on, had nicks in the side, which they said it was people nicking silver. Ridiculous. Some of them weren't even made out of silver, they were wood with a hole in the centre. Agriculture and the seeds. So it doesn't surprise me at all that seeds would germinate, being put in the right environment, in the right circumstances, in the right moon phase, and that they would germinate quicker. Of course they would. If you try to take a northern hemisphere seed, if you take a seed from the northern hemisphere, kiwi fruit, there's one you can grow in Britain, and I did this myself.
You grew kiwi here?
Yes.
Wow.
I got one from Tesco's or Sainsbury's somewhere, a kiwi fruit, and I was speaking to a guy from New Zealand on the radio, on amateur radio, and I'd grown these from the seeds in the fruit. I'd grown them, and then he pointed out to me that they would actually start to grow in our winter, not in the summer, because the seed retains the genetical memory, and you need a seed that's been grown in the northern hemisphere rather than the southern hemisphere, because otherwise they'll flower at the wrong end of the season.
Yeah.
Swarm affecting plants. You can affect one plant on the leaf, and the rest of the plants will be affected by it, although they're not connected together at all, through the atmosphere. Plants cellularly grow in the dark, they don't grow in the light. Well, most of them, 90%, actually grow in the dark. The dark phase is vitally important to us as being men and women in these physical bodies, as it is to plants. We never experience the dark phase, we're always in artificial light. Wilderness theory was touched upon in many different cultures.
Yeah.
And this can be seen, a similarity can be seen as the eye reset into darkness. distance and perception often governs the experience that we believe that we're on. When you change the perception of an individual, then the actual physical interaction in their, what do we call it, reality also changes. I think there's a lot of that going on, a lot of it going on. So within that realisation for me that how close we actually are to plants, how similar we are to plants. We really are. I mean, the way our skin falls away from us, how we create cellular growth, we're predominantly water, we're carbon based. I mean, it's just so many.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, it's almost embedded in everything we know. I mean, we're 70% water, the Earth's 70% water. Like I said, there is actually quite a lot of things. And, when I was talking about the equation of pi and it's embedded in seashells, I mean, even storms, if you've seen the photograph of the hurricanes that have happened, if you see how it was forming, I mean, it's exactly the same as the pie chart, as it's starting to form. It's a little circle and it starts expanding on the outside and it gets bigger and bigger. It's the exact same thing what happens in nature, on a bigger, grander scale.
I think that's Fibonacci. One second. I think that's the Fibonacci sequence.
Fibonacci, that's the one.
Yeah, and the golden mean.
That's the one. That's it. Yeah.
Guys, this is all amazing. But I just really want to say really quickly, we've had a great time talking. We've got to go though, because we've got a screaming baby and all sorts of things to tend to. But I want to say thanks so much because I've really enjoyed talking. And I'll be on again as soon as possible. But have a nice evening.
Thank everyone.
Take care. See you later.
Stacey.
Everybody.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Charley. Have a good evening.
Take care, guys. Stay soon.
And give the baby a cuddle.
Good night.
So yeah, Fibonacci sequence.
Thank you, Stacey.
You
Thank you, family.
Prajna, I think you were trying to get in there before.
Victor Schellberger is the guy that you want to track down, and you come across. Not only Victor, but his son followed on with his mathematics and all kinds of wonderful things have come out of this. Fascinating, all to do with water and water seeds and free energy and all kinds of wonderful things.
What was the name again? Sorry, Prajna?
Even flying saucers. I don't know about 9-foot aliens and so on.
What was the name again, Prajna? Victor something?
Schellberger.
Schellberger. Okay.
SCHAUBERGER.
That's lovely. Thank you.
And you'll find lots of stuff on YouTube about him, and there's plenty to read. And there's a great guy who's translated a lot of his works, a guy called Cullum Coates. He's got very good information on Schellberger.
I mean, it's all great stuff, I mean, this information, if it's all coming together, if we, bring this awareness into people, and we're talking about, agriculture, and Bob was doing a bit of his aquaponics. I mean, that's essentially the new way to farm, I think. There's been some shows on, I believe, TEDx, the future of farming. We could actually grow vertically in the same kind of space of land, and we don't need soil and all these things. We could, make...
Malek, if you actually have a look on the website, www.bobsbackyard.co.uk, and that was the website that was designed to be used for the national curriculum. But use your microphone before you type it, Malek.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
You see, you don't have to be in a room long with Robo Hippie before that starts happening. It's the main site. It's now a portal site. Most people will know it as Hydroponics #4 Life, as it is on YouTube as well. That's where we've got actual vertical systems made out of viscreen and bits of wood, basically out of rubbish, really. Very easy to construct. We have actually used them using off-the-shelf stuff you can buy off the shelf. To be honest, the ones that are constructed out of plywood, this is for aquaponics, not hydroponics, aquaponics, and lined them with viscreen, which is used under concrete as a membrane, and they're working better than any I've done so far. In fact, unmaintained, just running away, no problems at all. Of course, we have to use the root cutter we've put in the bell housing. But yeah, that was to go across curriculum. But again, it's getting there. It is getting there. We're just hoping more people will steal the idea and get on with it, because, you know, it is there freely for people to use. So we've been working it. I've had a little one running outdoors in a tiny backyard in Manchester for well over 10 years now. For me, then, because I didn't realise it was at work, so I didn't have to keep cleaning my pond out. It was a lazy man's pond, you know. It was only when, in an argument in Rochdale, hydroponics suppliers who told me that aquaponics didn't work, where I was like, that's preposterous, it's working. He put it to the challenge. He actually supplied me with off-the-shelf stuff, because I basically went, you take one of them, you put one of them in it, you put one of them in it, and you fill it with that, and that's it. And he went, nah. So I built one. He provided me with the stuff, and that was to be launched across, like I say, the national curriculum under Hydroponics for Life, because it actually produces free food. For me, the whole ideology, and Susan, who's with us, was backing on that in the day, as was Robo Hippio, I am Ty, was to do our bit to educate people that food is free.
That's fantastic. That's really good.
It is actually free. We realised that there's no point dealing with adults because they are actually, you tell them this, and I've done it. I've put out free food. I've actually left free food.
See, that's the good thing. You've actually taken action. You've put it out there. You've manifested it.
People don't take it. I actually eventually took the food and banged on my neighbours' doors and went, here, and they take it then. They take it and they got used to it, but people think that free food is fake or broken or bad.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Well, unfortunately, there is with aquaponics. And I mean, if you use manpower, just manpower, right? Forget using a solar panel or, any of these energy systems. Forget all that. Just a man turning a handle, winding a crank. It will produce you more vegetable and vegetable protein than the man requires to turn the crank. So you're getting profit. You're actually literally turning a profit. And in that sense, that food is not only free, but turns a profit. And that most people, let's say most adults, who aren't divergently thinking, would stand and argue that food is actually expensive.
And do you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but I think that there'll be a massive difference even in the taste of food if it's not, if it's done on a bigger scale, with all these pesticides and different chemicals that they're spraying all around it. The amount of effort you've got to put just to wash the thing, and the taste of the actual fruit. I mean, I remember just travelling back to Benghazi. I mean, on my mum's side of the family, they've got a farming business, and the fruit there just tastes so different. I mean, just even lettuce and.
I think you might find that's to do with the amount of distance it's travelled and how fresh it is. I've eaten a banana off a tree, a ripe banana off a tree, and at that point I realised I'd been mugged on bananas all the really hard. I'd never tasted it. I mean, I like bananas, and now it was like super banana from the banana bar. Do you know, it really was. So, and you see, the irony of this is, if I put down a hydroponics lettuce, an aquaponics lettuce, and a traditionally soil-grown lettuce, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the taste.
Right, okay, I get you.
You wouldn't. You're right, only one of those systems would be truly organic. Of course, you can do organic soil growing, but, if you're using conventional nitrate fertilizers, then they're being produced by the chemical industries, petrochemical industry, and they actually eventually will create blooming in the water table, spirulina blooming, which potentially can wipe out an entire ecosystem.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what would be better. Are these chemical fertilizers supposed to boost the taste, or if people are doing it with essentially fish waste, is this what's going to add to the flavour? How does it work?
Really, you don't want to be feeding cows and sheep and pigs to fish. They don't really eat those. So if you are getting into this, I mean, mine's done as ornamental. I don't eat the fish. But if you are actually eating it, well, if you're growing from it anyway, you know, I would go for a spirulina, or just make sure it's got no land animal protein. Now look, the fish feed companies know about this, and they've started putting from curd. Now, if I'm not mistaken, curd comes from milk, which is a land animal. So it's a protein from a land animal, you see. So yeah, just it's one thing to look out for if you're getting into that aquaponics. But out of them all, aquaponics is commercially viable. Of course, you're better growing it in the soil with good soil, and we get into permaculture and stuff. You know, that's a long-term massive solution. You know, it really is. But for agriculture and industry, this is an alternative. It's a massive alternative. It creates no waste. It is totally organic. Its only byproduct you'd have is fish bone and blood meal and quality soil. It makes bone casting. There's no other byproduct in it. So it's all totally organic. It not only has no waste byproducts, it actually helps create land and fertilise and bring back dead land. So it hasn't got the costs of the nutrients that are needed, and you haven't got to buy the chemical and the drugs to give to the fish because of the conditions they're in. And have a look at some places because they've started to do that because of the overcrowding they needed. So keep your eye on that to get out up to a high production rate. It's quite simple to do. Rather than overcrowding the fish, you can just add seaweed, which is non-ammonia based. It doesn't affect the system, which you often have to do in the early stages until the bacterial beds build up, and then they can handle much more ammonia, much more nitrate. Production takes place. So yeah, it's not. You can't just switch them on. It's a natural culture, which is basically mimicking a river flooding. A river flooding its banks, leaving nutrients on, and then flooding away again. You link that in with sewerage farm technology.
You've got something there, maybe.
Yes, it's that. Well, it works. I'm aware of that. How it works. It's actually a filter, a sewerage filtration. The final stages where you see water being sprayed onto the top, and algae growing, which is actually taking out the nitrates in the water. It's actually eating them. So rather than allow this nutrient-rich water to break the surface, we use an ebb and flow technique, keeping the water beneath the surface. So the algae doesn't stick away now to us, which are vital nutrients for plant growth. So yeah, it is really a total. You can't get hydroponics, which are organic. If you want to grow organically, using these kind of hydroponics and aquaponics, it is the only solution currently. Closed loop system. Spirulina is another one. If you get 20 degrees centigrade outdoor spirulina, you can use to produce food, fuel, medicine. It is a real wonderful thing. Mayans did it, and it's been around for years, real long time. It's been rediscovered on a couple of occasions. In India, it's seen as food. In Africa, it's the cure for malnutrition, containing up to 68% vegetable protein, and it's much easier for the body to digest.
Exactly, absolutely. I totally agree with that. There's scientists all over now saying, we need to come off starch and blood and, start digesting.
The problem with that, Malek, is it's now being bought up in the West as a health supplement, and now the people in countries that really need it for malnutrition can no longer afford it.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally understand. I mean, corporations would push for these things. You're essentially breaking down an industry if you're going to, go into these trends. But I think there was a amazing documentary that happened in America, and they got these patients who are diabetic, And they got them onto a raw diet. I think it was raw vegan diet. So they cut off dairy products, and they just let them eat raw vegetables, water, and as much natural products as possible. And within 30 days, some of them cured their diabetic problems. And I believe one of the most famous one was Clinton. He apparently went onto this raw vegan cleanse. It's incredible, like if you can actually live.
Is that Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Oh, because I wish I could get hold of the person who told him how to cure himself. The documentary was basically talking about food is essentially our medicine. You could cut these different illnesses by ingesting the right foods. As soon as they started, eating it, they just weren't used to it, saying, oh, it tastes horrible, we're not used to it, at least cook it, do something, But some of them were trying to quit, some of them were, sticking it out. But in the end, after 30 days, they got results, which is incredible. You talk to a diabetic now and say, I think, if you started changing your eating habits, you could potentially be on a different road, It's some people might not be able to comprehend that. Oh, nice. Go on, Prajna, mate, get him.
There's a Indian Ayurvedic doctor, actually. He studied a whole lot of different branches of medicine, including he was also a chiropractor as well, a guy called Shyam Singer. And there's a website you can go to called thesecretsofnaturalhealth.com. And if you go there, you'll find you can look up various ailments, and he will tell you what particular juices to have and all kinds of things. Quite fascinating, and it's all about food as medicine. And I've got a lot of respect for this guy because I met a student of his. In fact, this guy became my teacher while I was in London, and I saw him. Not only he transformed my whole body, the whole way that I was, just through diet, but also a woman who was there who was in a wheelchair with very severe arthritis. And by the time that I left, she was around kicking footballs around, and you just wouldn't know the difference. All by taking her off all the doctor prescribed medicine and giving her the right food.
That's incredible. See, cases like this, I believe, should be documented and shown. Advocated to as many people as you can. If you essentially want to help these people out, because I've heard cases where people have said, you better stick with, the NHS or what have you, and people are saying online, they're not there to actually cure you, they're just there to treat you and what have you, and some of these people are kind of forced to go into these alternative routes, and
well, they're scared into the original treatment in the first place, and iatrogenic illness, doctor-caused illness, is one of the highest causes of death that there is. It's certainly up there, 3, even here in the UK.
I heard also juicing diets was pretty good for you as well, cleansing out the colon and things like this.
We had a couple of hours, Malek, with Badger earlier in the week, and he was getting up to that. And this is actually grass, but they're using a different kind of pulping method.
Masticator.
Is that the word? Right, yeah. Juicer. So that kind of pricked my ears up. I used to chew grass as a kid, and I know that often that's what we do. We do the things which are good for us as children, and we get out doing those things. We start doing other things which aren't necessarily so good for us. So that's something I'm going to look at. The machines are quite expensive. But
so what's the difference? What's the difference with juicing and masticating?
I actually asked him about my juicer I had, which I had here, and I said, I've got a question. This was off air. I said, I've got a question. Why have I had my juicer in my cupboard for 2 years and not had it out? Why is it still there? I haven't been here that. I've been away and stuff, travelling, but why am I not using it? And he said, is it one of the grinding type ones that? And I said, yeah, it is. It's like a rotating cheese grater. All right, he said. And he said, well, basically, you're not using it because they're pretty pointless. You're doing it damage, rather than getting the goodness from it. And I'm aware that actually removes, that type of juicer does remove a lot of the goodness you actually want. You get really good juice, really clean juice, but, it's not too clever. So these work on a much slower speed. Now,
Bob.
Yeah, go on.
Bob, I got an answer for you. It's a thing called a Z-Star. A Z-Star juicer, and it's a hand-cranked juicer. You can crank it yourself, and it works really brilliantly. And it's one of these auger type masticating things.
And I suspect
all the pulp. It's easy to clean. It costs you 99 quid or something, and they're fantastic.
Have you seen I'm sure you have, in India, the sugarcane men? Yeah, right. Well, that's one. I suspect that's where it comes from. Sugarcane is a grass.
Sure.
And that is one. If you're ever in India, right, ever at all, or any in the world where you see them making a drink out of sugarcane, go and have a go. It is unbelievably just wow. It does.
All your teeth are full straight out your head, of course. But
I've never took MDMA, but I'd imagine it is. It is literally. Oh no, it's not like that. It's not a sickly drink at all. They do it with ginger. They normally do it with ginger. And when Badger was talking, he said about adding ginger. It's a vitally important. It's been going on there for years. Well, them machines I saw have definitely been there since the Victorian era, And so, just like two mangles.
Yeah.
So, I suspect there may be another way of doing it. Now, okay, the ones they are talking about, these 400 and some pound ones, they're actually magnetically tuned, and they use infrared light or ultraviolet light to stop the decay that takes place when this is taking place. So they've done a lot of science into it. But hey,
that sounds interesting, doesn't it?
We could get one that, they've done the work, but at 400 odd pounds a pop, a lot of people are struggling to pay their electric and the gas, and they can't put the food on the table. So could come up with perhaps not as good. I'm not saying it's going to be as good. Perhaps they have got something which is far superior, but let's come up with something. I thought of an old mincing machine, handheld mincing machine, when he said it. Then it clicked in my head. I'd seen such a device, I suspected, in India.
Yeah,
very, really good.
So juices, we might all be eating grass, eh? Who knows? And he said it wasn't just wheatgrass. There are so many different grasses around. It is amazing. The things that we've found. I mean, medicine, you look at a lot of modern day medicines, and they're actually copies, chemical copies of compounds which are actually found in natural plants. Belladonna's a real famous one. Why is cannabis still illegal all over the place? Because you can't patent it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They can't. I mean, Run for the Cure. If you haven't seen that video, go and have a look at it. It's amazing stuff.
That's great stuff, that one. That was really interesting. I had a word with my dad because he's actually a pharmaceutical doctor. I said to him, I kind of confronted him. I was like, "You've got some explaining to do. What's this all about?" And he just kind of looked at me and was like, "There's a reason why they're not using it." And he explained to me how Berbers are essentially trading it and using it to eat and things like that. They actually ingest it, and he kind of touched on what you said. For everything that comes out, it has to go through their legislation, so they kind of have to have some kind of copyright, otherwise it's not viable for them to release.
Well, there are many countries in the world where it has now become viable. Spain, Portugal, many states within the United States of America, not to mention the classic one of all, Holland. They seem to be, ignorance seems to be dropping like proverbial flies, and they really do. We know better because somebody else told us what? Their argument crumbles. Through the internet, thanks to this, people talking, different cultures, different backgrounds.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, I have to admit, I was one of those guys who said, "Don't you smoke weed? That's quite bad." And then, once I started, looking into different people's opinion, scientists coming forward talking about the benefits of, tetrahydrocannabinol in your brain and the endocannabinoid system and what have you, your nervous system, and all these different things kind of awoke me up and got me, more curious. I mean, I thought it was all, just talk at first. And then when I saw cases of, from that documentary, Run From the Cure, they were rubbing it on people with skin cancer. And within 4 days, the skin cancer was gone. Things like that kind of, got my attention, when I see practical goals being achieved.
I mean, really at that, if they had our interests, if they really were considering our best interests. But that little piece of information, the massive amounts of research should have been immediately took out. Immediately, when they find a cure for cancer, why are we spending all this money on a cure for cancer when there is a potential cure there? Why haven't we done the research? Why is it not being done? Of course it's been done. They've spent the last 30 years trying to copy it. It's been copied and it's been used in pharmaceutical. Unfortunately, when you start to remove certain elements, it becomes a massive depressant. That's what it does. Oh yeah, they'll send that out. Oh, they'll patent that. This is what cannabis does to it. Rubbish. Completely rubbish. There's an umpteen ways you can take it. The irony is, if you actually follow the Run for the Cure on extracting oil, as it's known, from the plant, that is Class A in the United Kingdom. That's a Class A drug.
Class A, extracting the THC?
No, that is Class A. Cannabis oil.
You're joking.
That is a heroin over here, mate.
You're joking.
Heroin. No, and that's the cure. The cure is Class A, and you go to prison for having it.
Oh my
Never mind, you can actually get the same benefits out of it if you are out there. It isn't as effective. It won't be as fast, but it's still effective. Cannabis actually puts your consciousness and your physical, mental, emotional, all your body systems into a position where this natural system can actually start to heal. Your body is capable of curing virtually any ailment. You touched on this earlier, Malek, about ill-ease manifesting as disease.
Exactly, yeah.
So the body is put at ease. Once it's put at ease, it can transmute virtually anything. I wouldn't put it to the test. I wouldn't start drinking vast bottles of ammonia or something to try and prove me wrong. Are you with me? Of course, things in moderation, all things being okay in moderation. But don't drink your own urine and don't smoke crack. I have to get that in now to everybody. Yeah, if you haven't heard that, Malek, please have a look at the 30. You'll see why we are really live radio, and we do try and vet people as best as possible. But as yourself, we had no idea who you were tonight, Malek, and what a joy it's been. It's
been an absolute joy listening to your show and all of your guests. Absolutely wonderful. Good information.
You're part of it now, mate. You're part of it. They'll want you back, Malek. You know that. You've come here. You've spoke good sense. Without a doubt.
Definitely, I'll be on. Absolutely, I'm quite intrigued about the coming up show with Mr. Bonacci. He's quite an interesting fellow.
Yes, let's give that a big plug because we will have to actually drop this pretty soon. The only reason is we like to try and keep the podcast files down to 250 meg. When we can restart it just for editing purposes. Really, that's all it is. So yeah, you people could carry on talking forever if you wanted. Potentially, people could come in and drop out and come in. Unfortunately, I will collapse and die. So yeah, Dom's show though, before we go, it is on tomorrow night. It is starting early. Okay, if you've got used to Dom's show, and its start times. Keep checking the website. Keep your eye on Facebook. I don't like using it. I kind of dead against Google and YouTube now, but hey, sometimes we have to use tools of advice that we would not prepared to use normally. We are living in Babylon, are we not? So, Don Show, I'm trying to find it. I've lost it now. Why has it not been?
Kevin Annette, he's having on his show. And, yeah.
Yeah, there's two. No, there's two. He's got an hour show, and then he's doing a 2-hour show after that.
Yes.
And it is posted here. I have seen it.
I just posted it in the Skype chat, Paul.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I just saw it now, yeah.
Kevin Annett. Now, when I get them mixed up, one of these guys, Kevin Annett, he's the Pope dude, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, right. So
I've met him.
that should be good, and that should be topical on the... You've met him?
I've met him, yeah.
Well, of course you are. You're God. You know everybody. You're a cosmic sentient being. You exist in all places. Simultaneous. Of course you met him. In fact, technically, God, you are him.
He was meant to be staying at ours when he came over to speak last year, but it turned out that one of his friends they were away, they were abroad somewhere, so I said, oh, you could have my fucking flat to stay in or whatever. So he got his own place in the end, so he didn't need to come to mine. But.
And then, so there's an hour of that ish, or like on Darkcity, you never know what's going to happen. So there's an hour of that ish. And then Santo, I've got to get it right, Santo Bonacci. Thank you, God. Santo Bonacci. Now, I've heard about this guy, lots of stuff about. Go on, Prajna.
Santos.
Santos Bonacci.
Yeah, and he's bound to be talking. If people want to know something about, in fact, it was Malek who was asking about this People's Trust.
No, it's me who's asking
Santos. That's his theme tune at the moment.
All right. Hey, it's all topical, isn't it? The synchronicity.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Right. Yeah. I think I saw one of his videos. He was talking about how you can protect your assets with the trust and things like that.
Right, I'm going to play us out. I'm going to pick one of the S-Man tunes, completely random. I don't know which one it is. I'm going to hit the button. I can't thank you all enough. Like I say, this is your radio station. Please use it. Let us know if you want to do something. Let us know. Somebody's doing a rover whippy on me. Yeah, we'll get used to that. Right, folks, again. We'll do it again real soon. Keep your eye on the schedule.